What is up, you guys? I get so excited when it's time to talk to you. Today's today's show is for my Gen Xers. If you were born between 1970 and 1985, this is for you. I believe our generation has been forgotten. It's either baby boomers, millennials, and now Gen Zs, and you're all important, but we're here too, and this show is for us. Let's talk about it. Ride with me while we discuss hot topics, share information, and just have fun conversations. Drive and thrive. When I turned 30, I didn't celebrate, I held awake. I genuinely looked in the mirror and found a gray hair, a single gray hair near my ear over here. It's still there, I think. And I thought to myself, well, this begins the moment I become irrelevant. See, growing up in the 80s and 90s, pop culture taught us that once you turn 25, it's a wrap. Forget about it. You'll spend the next 50 years tumbling down the rocky hill of physical decay, mental fog, and terrible orthopedic shoes. And I believe that hook, line, and sinker. Unfortunately, I'm just being honest, I did. And judging by the internet, so did millions of you. Because when you look at the top search queries for age, people aren't asking, how do I gain more wisdom? They are frantically typing, how to stop cognitive decay. Another big one is, at what age do you stop gaining muscle or building muscle? And my personal favorite panic used to be, is depression inevitable at a certain age? Because that is something that you hear. A lot of elderly people supposedly become depressed. And before, I used to think 50 was the end of the hill. Clearly, I do not think that anymore. But I want to stop the treatment of aging like a slow motion horror movie. I want to be the voice that says we are turning off the scary movie. Today, I'm going to stand on this stage or sit in this car and use hard, indisputable science to shatter the biggest lies about getting old, because my generation, we need to hear it. And also, I believe truth is reassuring and it's downright triumphant. So let's talk about the truth about aging. Let's start with a big one. The fear that our brain is a ticking time bomb destined to slow down to the speed of 90s dial-up. Now, we've all had that moment where you walk into a room and you forget why you are there. I know you've done it. I know I do it. And I used to believe, here we go. This is the beginning of it. No. I'm going to tell you. I used to think, oh no, my brain cells have packed up and they've left the chat. But that is not the case. So the number one myth is that cognitive decline is a mandatory, unstoppable downward spiral. Here's what the neuroscience actually says about this. Yes, processing speed, which is the speed in which we recall like a random actor's name from 1984, can slow down slightly. But your brain is not dying, it's evolving. So, according to neurobiological studies on the brain, our brains do not stop growing. They undergo a spectacular reorganization. The brain's overall information processing capacity and structural complexity actually reach their absolute peak between 60 and 80 years of age. During these decades, the brain unlocks a superpower. When younger brains solve a problem, they only use one hemisphere, but older brains learn to recruit both hemispheres simultaneously to solve complex tasks. So, what about memory loss? Because that's a big deal. Like, that's a big concern, right? Well, the data shows that only about 1/3 of people over the age of 85 actually develop dementia, meaning the vast majorities of human beings live into their 90s with their minds completely intact. You aren't losing your mind. You are gaining a highly optimized dual engine of cognitive power. This is why you don't call it losing your edge, you call it gaining wisdom. Let's talk about the body. We are told that after a certain age, our muscles melt away, our bones turn into chalk, and a gym membership becomes a safety hazard. We are treating our bodies like a car we've leased. Once the mileage gets too high, the warranty expires and the engine falls out. This brings us to myth number 2, the myth that physical deterioration is an unchangeable law of nature. We look at an older adult who is frail and we say, wow, look what age did to them, right? But the National Institute of Aging points out that frailty is driven by inactivity, not biology. It's a classic case of use it or lose it. So let's take a look at actual sports science. Researchers studying master athletes found something jaw-dropping. With proper resistance training, 80-year-olds can possess a biometric gold standard of cardiovascular health of a 35-year-old. We have no excuses, you guys. We have none. So basically, the whole reason we become the whole reason we become frail is because we just stop. And we stop because we believe the crap that we were told that we have to stop. At a certain age, you can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing that. I am loving these videos I see of the 65-year-old, the 70-year-old, and their body is banging ridiculous. That is the most motivational thing I think TV has on it right now. So there's no excuse unless you have a physical excuse, right? A real one, not you just don't want to, or I'm too old and it's just in your head. But if you don't, there's no reason. There's no reason. Let's get out there and start lifting these weights, you guys. No reason why we should be out here at 49, 50 some and not looking banging. Like there's no reason. If the 60-year-old lady could do it, we could do it. If you think about it, you could be 80 years old walking past a 35-year-old who is wheezing while trying to open a jar of pickles. Like biologically, your heart and your lungs are matching theirs beat for beat. It's possible and actually very doable. Another myth I've heard is at a certain age, your muscles stop responding to weight the same as they did when you were young. But science begs to differ. While it's true We naturally lose muscle fiber at around age 50 or after 50. Strength training forces the remaining fibers to become hyperdeveloped and compensate for the loss. Your cells do not care what year is written on your birth certificate. When you put stress on muscle, the human body responds by building power. You are never too old to be strong. But perhaps the heaviest lie of all is 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 the emotional one. And the stereotype of the grumpy, lonely, isolated senior sitting by a window, drowning in loneliness and depression is false. It doesn't, just because you're old doesn't mean you're lonely. Just because you age doesn't necessarily mean you will be lonely. But when you search the internet, it's a lot of nonsense on there that almost says once you hit a certain age, you're just destined. There's some information that says if you're not married by the time you're 35, you'll never be married. Like, that may be statistically true, or maybe, but that doesn't mean you can never get married. So I think in the age we live in, we don't see the internet as the tool that it is. It's a tool. It's not fact. That's information that we can get. I should say it like this: it's not your fact. That could be a statistic that if you weren't married by a certain age, statistically, people aren't married. Does that mean you will never get married? No. You can do whatever you want to do. So when you hear these things that aging causes this, or if you're over 50, you should feel like this, that is not the case. That doesn't have to be your reality. I truly believe the life you build is the life you keep. And honestly, if you're suffering from depression, please get help. I'm not making light that is not a thing that people deal with. I'm not trying to make light of that, so please don't take it that way. But I am saying that because you hit a certain age does not mean you are automatically going to be lonely, depressed, sad. I believe the life you build is the life you keep. And if you build a life with love and life and and gatherings and people, situations, and taking care of yourself, that is the life you'll keep into your 90s, into your whatevers. So, is depression an inevitable fact? Science says it's not. So, lie number 3, myth number 3, that happiness declines as you age. The data on this is beautiful, and honestly, it choked me up when I first read it. Psychologists refer to this phenomenon as the U curve of happiness. If you track human life satisfaction, it starts high in your youth, it dips to its absolute lowest in its 40, where you're building your career, building your life. It's a lot of stress. And then, to Hollywood's dismay, it skyrockets. Studies show older adults are consistently happier, more resilient, more optimistic than their younger counterparts. Why? Because emotional regulation peaks in later life. You stop sweating the small stuff. you realize a bad day isn't the end of the world because you've survived 1,000 bad days before. You possess deeper relationships, a stronger sense of purpose, and an unmatched capacity to find the real happiness in life. So what's the biggest lie that I believed about aging? I believed aging was a process of subtraction. I believed it was a slow stripping away of my mind, my body, my strength, and my joy. But through aging and science, I now believe aging is a process of addition. It's adding layers of deepening complexity, of building psychological armor, and a fine tuning of the brain that took decades to perfect. And here is the ultimate cheat code, verified by longevity researchers. Your mindset towards aging determines your physical reality. Studies show that individuals who maintain a positive outlook on growing older live an average of 7.5 to 8 years longer than those who view it with fear. And I don't know about you, but I want to live a long life. I want to see my son, my nephews, and my grandkids. I want to see their lives throughout. And I want to have a good life while I'm doing it. So changing the mindset of aging has a greater impact on your lifespan than even losing weight and quitting cigarette smoking. This shows that positivity literally transforms and changes your life. Gen Xers out there, my people, my folks, we need to stop looking in the mirror and trying to erase the clock. It's ticking. We can't stop that. And it's ticking and we can't stop that. But the clock ticking shows that we have survived the storms. We have survived the grays. And we should wear it as a crown and a badge of honor. We are not the forgotten generation. We are the generation that bridged the old school ways with the new ways of thinking. We are here and we are here to thrive. So, you are not fading out. You are not stepping out of your prime. You're stepping into your prime. Stop fearing the future. Embrace the science and let's start owning our years. These are our years. Many of us are retiring. Our kids are out of college. We are in this age where it is us again. We can do us. Let's do it. Love yourself. Do something that makes you proud. Write in the comments what you're going to do next to make yourself be yourself. Let's grow into our happiness and thrive. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Love yourself. Spread that around. Peace.